Hey, all you beautiful people. It's Suzy Lolley coming to you live on Facebook. We do that every Tuesday, 8 p.m. If you're not already subscribed to my blog, I want to remind you, this is my face. That's not what I want to remind you. But I want to remind you that every Tuesday we go live, and I would love for you to follow me on my blog and on my page. So SuzyLolley.com. You can follow me there. You can also come on over on the blog and you can like my Facebook page over here to the right. See that? Ooh, and look, 72 of your friends like it. So it's very exciting. But anyway, just wanted tonight talk about interactive worksheets. Let's go ahead and take you down a trip down memory lane and start with saying, you know, when we first had worksheets, oh, and I need to say this first, sorry, not trying to get distracted. There's hammering going on in the background. My dog might bust in the door, just all kinds of stuff. We're still under construction, but I feel like in the next week, we're going to have a lot of really exciting developments on our construction. So if you hear any hammering in the background, that is my faithful husband, and they're just installing a new floor. Don't mind him. Anyway, so let's take a trip down memory lane. So if you are as old as me, I'm 36. So if you're old or as old as me or older, I'm going to try to talk over the hammering. Then you remember when we used to have handwritten worksheets. You guys remember that? And they were run off on a ditto machine. Now, I was not a teacher during that time, so I did not go sniff the ditto ink. I've heard that lots of people got high in the ditto room, whether on purpose or accidentally. But our teachers would write a sheet out and then go copy it on the ditto machine. So if you are in that age bracket, you'll have to leave me a comment and tell me how that worked, okay? And then after that, we developed into where textbooks came with what were called Blackline Masters. And Blackline Masters being, you know, a page you could copy out of a, you know, a textbook or something that would have student materials in it. And then came graphic organizers. Those are still trendy and have become more so over the years. And then finally came Teachers Pay Teachers, where you're like, I don't give a rip. I'm buying a worksheet somebody else made. So not only are we not handwriting anymore or putting on the overhead projector, but we are not even writing the content. We are buying it off Teachers Pay Teachers. So worksheets really have changed, but as I mentioned in my quiz video last week, has the structure of the worksheet changed? It might look different, but really has the purpose of it, the structure of it changed at all? Because if not, then we're really not moving with the times. So I invite you to go back and look at the article actually that's showing on my screen right now, Tech Tuesday number 17. And we talked about how, you know, we have to change with the times. Some things might be good, but we've got to at least adapt them. So tonight, I have the goal of showing you 3 quick ideas for making your worksheets more interactive. Are you ready for it? Let me hear you in the chat. Whoop, 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 whoop. I'm going to pop over there, even though it's tacky. It's going to show my screen within a screen. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Jessica. And hey, Susan. So as you guys are tuned in, I'm just going to share 3 quick ideas with you. So here, you ready for number 1? Number 1 is turn your boring worksheet into a foldable. I've got a couple examples down here that I used in my classroom. One is a 9th grade example or up, okay? If you're a lit teacher at all, and again, my examples are going to come from lit because that's what I taught, but I would love to see you adapt these. So this is a scansion fold. Ooh, and I got it really small. I love when it's 17% and you can't read it. Okay, yeah, hold on. I had it at a good place. Well, friends, I need my tech support. If the 3 of you who are watching could come over and be my tech support, that would be delightful. I want to make it small enough so you can see it. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So a foldable, the way that I have made them on my computer is I just use Word, and you'll notice the first page is always spaced down a lot because when you fold it, you want that to be the front of the book, okay? And then on the inside, you can set these up so many different ways. So in this case, I was teaching meter and scansion, which if you're not a lit nerd, it's the way that you mark the pattern of syllables in a poem. So what I liked about this particular foldable is that I put, and let me make it a little bit bigger now, I just want you to see the structure. So what I like about this one is that over on the left, the whole first column, which again, this is folded on the dotted line, but the whole first column was notes that the students would fill in the blanks for. So I like being able to interact with my students. I like them to be able to take notes. Even though that's really traditional, it's not a bad idea. There are times when that is the best way for them to retain information. We're just trying to make it more engaging. And so this first column on this particular foldable, they took all their notes. And then in the middle, they had 5 different kinds of what we call feet, or 5 different kinds of, here were the meters, and then these are the different amounts of feet they can have. I'm not going to go into that. We're not going to do lit tonight. but teaching them how to mark the feet and how to decide what the meter of the poem would be. And I had never taught that systematically before, but found this to be really, really helpful. I created this, I think, the last year, or one of the last years I was teaching high school. So anyway, that's one way to use a foldable. It's more interesting than just giving a worksheet because they actually can fold this in half. They're writing on it, they're illustrating it on it, and I'm going to show you one of those in just a minute. And they're quizzing on it by themselves. They can very easily, because this is folded, they can fold on the columns if they need to quiz themselves. They can fold it up, top to bottom to quiz themselves on the rows. And it's really good, a foldable for steps in a process as well. Let me show you another foldable I came up with. This one's more traditional. So again, I always space way down so that it folds properly, but I was teaching an 8th grade conflict, okay, the 4 types of conflict. And when you imagine that this is folded and we're looking at the second page is the inside, okay? So on this one, they did notes on the top. Then I showed them a video and they were to write which example fits. So I integrated this with video, not just sit down, do a worksheet. And then I wanted them to generate some higher order thinking, something they'd read that involved that type of conflict, okay? So foldables are just one way. One more idea I have here is in an Excel document, okay? Now, I think I mentioned this on maybe a Christmas, like a Techmas video I did, but a vocab chain is a vocabulary strategy I came up with where, those Christmas chains you used to make out of paper and put on your Christmas tree. I know I did in elementary school. You'd have red and green construction paper. You'd put them in a loop. You'd tape them together. Well, what we did was, and I did this several times for different vocabulary in my classroom. This particular one is Anne Frank. But I gave them the words on the left. On the right, they wrote the definition, okay? And then here's what you could do instead of making a vocab chain. It's still a foldable. They are going to fold right here on this center line. So what they've got then are 2 column notes where they can quiz themselves. Because I want you to think about, not every parent at home is willing to sit there with their kid and quiz them on their spelling words or on their vocabulary or whatever it is. So this gives them a really easy way to study themselves, okay? And it's more interactive than just filling in the blanks on a worksheet, okay? Especially if, when they're done studying, they cut it and make it into a Christmas chain. Yay, 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 Christmas, okay? What's my second idea for making worksheets more interactive? Well, of course, puzzles. I love gamification in the classroom. I actually was just on a huge webinar today, y'all. I on behalf of Common Sense. We had 1,000 people sign up. 1,000. It was amazing. And so if I sound really tired, it's because I am. And I was also sitting in a server room, which AKA is hot computers. And I was pouring sweat during the whole webinar. So anybody who might have seen that today, if you saw me wiping sweat, that's why. But anyway, what I talked about in that webinar was summer fun with digital citizenship. But I think fun should be something that's not just for the summer. So let's talk about putting puzzles on your worksheets, okay? There's a website called worksheetworks.com, and when I teach gamification, which I'm teaching again on June 8th, I'm going to have some teachers come in and we're going to learn how to gamify their classrooms with Canvas, LMS. One of the strategies I teach in there is called Worksheet Works. And I especially like the part that says puzzles, okay? So for example, I'm going to go like into Wordplex or puzzle. It shows you an example of what that puzzle is. Now this one's kind of generic. This is the kind that a lot of times my teacher would give me like the day before I got out of school. Let me see if I can find you one that's better. We can do it. Okay, math sequence mazes. Yep, secret map. Okay, that sounds promising. Oh yeah, this is the one I wanted to show you. I just forgot what it was called. So this one is created for math, and you can create these on your own. I just want to show you an example of how you can puzzleify, gamify, make more fun and interactive a worksheet, okay? So this one uses numbers and directions to lead students to the correct goal, but they have to solve something to get those directions, okay? So I'm going to create the worksheet, pardon me. I'm creating the worksheet. It lets me download it so I can keep it. I just love that this site is free. That's pretty amazing. And every time you come back, it can generate a different one for you, okay? But isn't this so cool? So at the bottom, they go 13 minus blank equals 3. So that's algebra right there. It's just a simpler version of it. And then they're going to reach whatever destination. So it says on which planet is the astronaut's home base. Now, you don't just have to use their example. What I love about examples is exactly that. It's the same when you go to a technology conference or teaching conference. You're using what they came up with to inspire you, but that does not limit you to a certain option. So Worksheet Works is just one example, and this is just one way of how you can put puzzles on your activities. If I can find it, I will add to the comments also. I had a teacher share with me an activity. You might hear Dusty in the background. Sorry, he's fussing at the floor. A first grade teacher shared with me an activity she did that I'm going to share with you in the comments as soon as I find it. I sometimes get so many emails, y'all just can't keep track. Okay. I also want to show you another puzzle that I came up with and I used for vocabulary. So this could be applied to anything that you're teaching that has vocabulary words. So I was teaching in 11th grade to build a fire, Jack London. That's a classic. And I did a magic square. So a magic square is something where all rows, all columns add up to the same number. For example, this is a magic square of 15. If I add 5 and 9 and 1, that's 15. If I add 7, 3, 5 across the top, that's 15. Okay? So I gave them an example at the top of a possible magic square. But then what they would do is on the bottom, they would match up their words with their definitions, okay? And then they would write the corresponding number beside its letter. So, of course, I mixed these in a specific way so that the magic square would work, okay? But a magic square is another really easy way to add some interactivity to something that would just be like womp womp. And it adds a self-checking component. So because they write the numbers down here, if they got it right, I don't even have to check it. I had them check it themselves with marker and bring it up to me. It was amazing. It was fast to check this, and they enjoy doing it, okay? Finally, my third idea for making worksheets more interactive, and I bet you guessed it. You can put it in the comments if you feel like you guessed it. It's adding QR codes. So I want to show you guys an example of one, okay? This is a poetry packet that I have done with my students since, I think, 2009. Yes, the last year I taught 8th grade, I created a poetry packet. And then when I went to 9th grade, we still taught poetry, but we had to add some more advanced concepts. So I updated it. So you're looking at the 9th grade version, okay? And this is just one page. It's a really big packet. I decided this year that I was going to take some stuff that I used to teach that I was really proud of and adapt it, make it cuter. That's why you get these cute little font and the cute little design over here. I have a color scheme. And I was going to take some of those things and update them for Teachers Pay Teachers because I thought, you know what, there's one worksheet I've been selling on Teachers Pay Teachers for years and people still like it. So I bet they would like some of this other stuff too. So on this poetry packet though, I wanted to make sure I didn't violate copyright. It's one thing to use something in your classroom, but to go post it on the internet, you can really get yourself in trouble. So I decided for that purpose that on my second page, I was going to have students access the poems that went with this packet via QR code. So in this case, all they're doing is scanning the code, going to a poem, and then they're analyzing what type of poem it is because this question was asking about lyric, haiku, and limerick. So I was able to, first of all, save space. Second of all, not break copyright. Third, I can give more background information because I'm linking to these sites like Poem Hunter where it'll tell a lot about even who wrote the poem. I'm doing all that with a single QR code. I'm making it interactive. And there's something that's magical about that black and white square. Students and adults alike really like scanning those to see the magic that appears. Now, although I didn't add this here, this is also a great opportunity to add something like, it's not called Erasmus anymore. Somebody can tell me in the comments what it's called. But any of that augmented or virtual reality, this will be a great way to add it to a worksheet, okay? What else can you do with QR codes? Well, glad you asked that. I did a whole session in Techmas about QR codes. So if you're really curious, I think it was day 5. You can go back on this page and find them. But I want to show you my favorite QR generator, and this is courtesy of Jim Barry. He's the first one who taught me how to make a QR code. So yay, Jim, now I work with him. But I want you to notice something. A lot of times people use QR codes just to go to a link, but guess what else you can do? You can have an image pop up. You can have it go to a PDF. You can have it, some of the cool ones, you can have it generate a word. I use that a lot for like testing review. You can have it generate a text message that you can send. You can do so many things with QR codes. It's limitless. So again, my example is I wanted them to go read a poem, but what could you do with them? Again, go back and look at day 5 of Techmas. But also just think about what part of my worksheet is boring and how could I make it more interesting by adding a QR code? How could I add a puzzle? How could I make this a foldable? Don't feel like we have to stay in those Blackline Master Ditto overhead projector days, guys. We can still give good information, but we can make it a little more interesting. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for tuning in tonight. If you got something out of this, hey Beth, hey Anna, hey Matt, then if you got something out of this, feel free to share the video. I would love that. And I'm live again next Tuesday. Now, we've only got 2 more before summer. I'm going to take a little summer siesta, but don't worry because I'm going to pop in with some surprise videos from time to time. Thank you so much for everybody who tunes in faithfully every week. I appreciate you, and I will see you next time. Hey, Kim.